Our celebrity guest tonight is an incredible person through and through. I appreciate him so much. I'm thankful to call him a friend. And he absolutely crushed it last year in 2023. I was on a meeting with him earlier today, and he is doing incredible things. He's the CEO and founder of VareCo, and his heart is huge. Is huge, not only helping people really getting their foot in the door in the multifamily space, but also having an impact and the things he does are for the greater good. That's his ultimate umbrella where everything aligns in. And I'm super thankful to have our celebrity guest back. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give an amazing Freedom Chasers welcome to Mr. Terrance Doyle. Terrance, brother, let's get you unmuted here, man.
What's going on? How are you? Quite the welcome.
I try to do you justice, but I don't quite think I can, but I do the best that I can, man. I do the best that I can. Let me stop sharing. Let's make sure, Terrance, that you're spotlighted, my friend. Let's pin you. Let's spotlight you. Yeah, you're spotlighted. Outstanding. Great to see you. And again, this is round 2. You coming back with us in 2024. You're actually the first celebrity guest of the year. And I can't be more thankful to have you, brother. So, we start off with this question. We threw this your way last time you came on, but I still remember your answer, man. I still remember your answer, but we still have a lot of new people that are coming to the Freedom Chasers community. So I'm going to ask it again, bro. The question is this. Who is Terrance Doyle?
Who is Terrance Doyle? Well, I'm a father. I was volunteering at school today, and they have this program. I've been wearing this all day. It's called the Watchdogs. So I'm a father. I was a watchdog today at my kid's school. That was pretty sweet. Got a chance to go into class, help make sure the perimeter was secure. So I'm a father of 2. I have a young girl that's 5. I have a young son that's 3. I'm a husband. My wife's name is Julie. Been married since 2016, which is crazy how time flies. And, those are the 2 probably most important things. I consider myself a follower of Jesus. So, I'm into following in the footsteps of Jesus. And so I would say that that's a big part of who I am. But yeah, those are the big ones. I think profess to follow Jesus. I'm a husband and I'm a father.
Outstanding. And I love that about you, Terrance, because as much success as you had in the multifamily space, that doesn't define you, right? It's these things that are way more important than real estate and the business aspects of things are really intrinsically who you are.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's get into your story a little bit, Terrance. I think I'd like to start in your college years, because you were doing some cool stuff in college, and I think it wasn't too long after that where you got into the real estate space. But how about we start there? Is that cool?
Yeah. I played basketball at a school here in Denver called Colorado Christian. It was a Division II school. So, I'd like to say they paid me to sit on the bench. I got a full ride, but I didn't play a lot. But I had incredible memories and really enjoyed just everything that comes along with college sports, right? The camaraderie, the fellowship with people where you're going through training camp together and summer workouts and the wins and losses, the highs and lows, and everything comes along with that. So that was an incredible experience. I think, developed a lot of, competitive fire, just being around sports my whole life and being able to play college sports. And that was a great experience. In college, we started a company. I was a junior. A couple of my teammates were seniors. One had just graduated, was getting his master's. And we started a company called OxyFresh Carpet Cleaning, OXI Fresh, OxyFresh. It's still around to this day. My buddy who also played at Colorado Christian, Jonathan Barnett, still owns it, runs it. But that was the first experience. My upbringing, my mom was an immigrant from South America. She's from Bogota, Colombia, so third world country. My dad's from Canada. So, I didn't grow up understanding business, understanding money, any of that. And so when they approached me with, hey, you want to start this company with us? I was like, yeah, let's do it. I didn't know what a company meant. I didn't know what being an entrepreneur was. None of that. This was 2006, right? So right before the Great Recession. And so we had, we were young, scrappy hustlers. We all lived together, worked together. We were 21, 22, 23 years old. And we ended up, you know, striking lightning in a bottle. We were able to catch people that were losing their jobs in the Great Recession, that wanted financial freedom. They wanted to control their own destiny. They didn't want to work for anyone else. And, that's what really having a franchise is all about, right? Is we were able to put a business into, with a nice bow in a repeatable way, right? So steps 1 through Z, right? A through Z, do this, follow this, do this, and just wrap it up nicely to where someone else could buy it and repeat it. And so we sold like 180 franchise units in the first 2 or 3 years. We went on an epic run. We had a unique way of like helping people really own a business, not a job. And we knew how to get the phones to ring. And we were in a really boring space, right? It was carpet cleaning. No one dreams about building a carpet cleaning company, but we knew how to get the phones to ring. We knew how to make money. We knew how to help other people make money, more importantly. And so we early on, we had some success, and I had no bills. We were paying at the time, it just goes to show you where rent was in 2006. We were paying $295 in rent.
Come on, man.
House. I think between the three, we were each paying $295. So the total rent for the house was maybe $800 or $900, and it was a brand new house. So that shows you where prices were back then. And one of my other college teammates came to me in 2007, it was late 2007, November, December, and said, presented me with the opportunity to start buying foreclosures at the public trustee sale. Again, I knew nothing about foreclosures, knew nothing about real estate, but it sounded like a really interesting trade. And so I was his first investor, and we bought a house at the Adams County public trustee sale. And we bought it for $56,000. We put $3,000 into it, and we sold it for $96,000 8 weeks later. So we made, after everything, like $25,000 in profit. And we split it. And so I took that money, and my sister at the time was going on a missions trip, and I basically funded her missions trip with that. So I thought it was cool. I was like, wow, I can't believe I just made $12,000 that quickly. And so that was the start of real estate. We went on to flip that partnership. We went on to flip like 600 homes between 2008 and 14. And,
wow.
It went, we ramped up 9, 10, 11, 12. And then by 12, it started to come down. There's a lot of competition. Money was cheap. Denver was starting to get hot. And everyone at that point, HGTV was starting to become a thing, and everyone thought they were a house flipper. And so there was more demand. There was way more people. Money was getting cheap. You could find money everywhere. When we started in 2008, it was really hard to find money. It was really hard. We were able to raise $5 million from one individual, and everyone else was like, why are you buying houses? I mean, you have to understand that at that point, buying houses was not everything that you read. Every news station was just talking about foreclosures and pain and how bad of an investment real estate was, and how terrible, and how single family homes were never going to come back. So you have to understand, I mean, buying homes for 50, 60,000 right now, today is like, yeah, no brainer. At the time, people thought housing was going to zero, right? They're like, you're never going to sell these. You're never going to, the world was crashing. Right. And so it was a much different environment. And it's kind of similar to today raising money, right? I mean, right now you see all of the, you and I have some common friends that have lost properties, lost millions and millions of dollars, floating rate debt, rents are coming down, insurance is up. I mean, all kinds of bad things. And it's really, really hard to raise money. It was similar in 2008, very similar. But then 2011, 12, 13, money was everywhere. It was easy, right? And so then it created a lot of competition. So then that's when I, pivoted to multifamily. I kind of had this light bulb moment where I was like, man, I'm on this hamster wheel, just having to, redeploy, buy, renovate, pay taxes, all this stuff. And, it was hard. It was a lot of work. And that's when I started to think about multifamily, about building something, buying a building, renovating, and it'll pay you, right? And so, you fast forward to today, I think we own over 2,000 units, and we manage them in-house. And, my brother and I built a portfolio. We started buying in 2015, 16, 17 in Des Moines, Iowa, just ourselves with no LPs. We had one buddy that came in and helped us with bank debt. And, that portfolio today has still been the best investment I ever made. And that pays us somewhere around, I mean, this is just to give you guys, some context about why you're on this call, right? JJ Miles, 18 years old. I think the other gentleman was 23. Why you're on this call, what's the goal, right? My brother and I own maybe 300 units. And that portfolio every month nets us cash flow, cash in the bank, 50 to 60,000 a month, and it's paying down 40,000 of principal. So you're really closer to 80 to 90,000 a month of like cash flow, but 40 of it's going to principal. And in 2020, we pulled out like $2.5 million tax-free refinancing one of those buildings. And it still pays us, that portfolio. So that's the goal. That's what everyone on here is going after, right? That's what, I mean, my hope is that's what you're here is for freedom, right? You want freedom, chaser. How do you get freedom? Right. Freedom looks like 50,000 a month in your bank account, right? That's what freedom looks like, to where you can go and do the things you want to do, spend time with your family, volunteer your kids' school, help other people, right? But it took me, I started that journey in 2008. I went off on my own in 14, started buying Des Moines single multifamily in 15, right? So you're talking about it's a 6, 7, 8 year journey. It's not overnight. Right. It's very hard. Challenging. All kinds of issues come up, and between construction contractors stealing money, lenders being difficult. It just banks, the whole thing, right? There's so many challenges. There's so many things. The city, we had multiple battles with rental inspectors in Des Moines. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So really, really challenging, very hard. But if you persevere and you were able to connect the dots and find out, where you have the biggest advantage, right? That was the thing for me, is like, I figured out that I had an advantage in Des Moines. I figured out that I had an advantage in Denver. I spoke fluent Spanish. I understood construction. I had some capital, right? Everyone's got to figure out where their advantage is. But if you figure out where your advantage is, you connect the dots, that can be you in the next 7 or 8 years. It's not going to be in the next 7 or 8 days or in the next 7 or 8 months. But if you apply yourself and you're consistent and disciplined, in the next 7 or 8 years, you could be telling someone else that same story, that you own a portfolio, pays you 50,000 a month, and you can basically live the life that you want to live. You can do the things you want to do. You can travel, and those kind of things. And so that's what, and that's why I'm here today, right? Is I want to be able to share that. I had some really great mentors, and they helped me, and that's what changed my life. And hopefully that someone listening to this can do the same thing, that they can get, have a light bulb, have something that unlocks, and they can maybe connect the dots for themselves personally and go on to do something and impact people and have and live the life that they want to live.
Come on, brother. I love it. Yeah, and I appreciate you letting us know that perspective, Terrence. I mean, I think we all need that reminder that, hey, you need to look at this thing. It needs to be a 7, 8, 10-year runway. And for you to actually make it happen, you got to be consistent. You got to be disciplined for that amount of time. But it's definitely, obviously, as you can speak, it's worth being consistent for that amount of time. It's just a matter of keeping it at every single day. I wanted to ask Terrence, Terrence, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm here.
cool. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought the screen froze for a little bit.
I was looking at the chat. I was just seeing the chat.
Okay, cool. Man, when you made the transition into multifamily, what was your biggest obstacle? And then what do you see out there with kind of newer investors that are looking to make the transition into multifamily? What's their biggest obstacle, and what helped you overcome that?
The biggest obstacle in just in multifamily in general, regardless of where you're transitioning from, is that it's highly nuanced. It's a simple business plan. It's a simple strategy. It's simple. Buying apartment buildings, not that complicated, but it's highly nuanced, right? Understanding how to structure the right deal with lenders, understanding how to underwrite a deal properly, understanding how to do rent comps, understanding how to raise capital if you're going to raise capital, understanding how to manage the deal, how to grow rents over time, how to do construction, how to not do too much, not spend too much, how to refinance, all these things, while they are simple, and you can go get a course and you can Google it and you can even enter it into Chat GPT and it'll give you the answers. It's highly nuanced, right? It's highly nuanced. It takes someone that has experience, that understands, that has the right touch and has experience, right? So I think that it's while it's simple and everyone has a book and everyone has a course and everyone has this, it's highly nuanced. It takes someone that actually has done it to help guide you and show you, right? And so I think that's the key, is you've got to be around people. That's why I hope everyone's on this call tonight and, has a mentor or has partners that have experience that they don't, is that it's highly, highly nuanced, and you have to have someone that knows what they're doing, especially in times like today where it's so volatile, the market's so challenging, and there's so many headwinds. You have to have someone that has been through challenges, has war wounds, has scars, has battle wounds, has had some losses to help you navigate, the choppy water. So I think that's the biggest challenge is you need someone that's going to help guide you to get from point A to point B, because it is very, very nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not careful, right? And I think the stories are on the Real Deal, and you can Google them. The carnage is real, and the losses are real, and people can lose a lot of money if you don't have the right partners, the right guide, the right person leading you into the right deals and the right structure. It can be very, very bloody.
Mm-hmm. I was having a conversation with a guy last night. It was like an adoption party that I was at. He was like, "Hey man, my cousin does commercial real estate development out in Southern California. Do you have any interest in that area?" I said, "No, I'm staying away from Cali, man. I'm staying away from Cali." But the conversation shifted, and it was like, "Hey, if you understand, have that local market expertise, you understand the nuances. No matter how much I might be wary of a market, there's people in there being successful, and that's because they have that local expertise and they know the ninja moves that need to be made, right, to be successful in that specific area." And Terrence, you're a ninja, man. There's no doubt about it. You're a ninja when it comes to Des Moines and Denver. And I want to ask about VareCo. So VareCo's been going on for how many years now?
We started raising outside capital. So from 2014 to 19, it was me, my brother, and a buddy, and we were using our own capital and just buying buildings, renovating, selling, refinancing. We probably bought and sold or refinanced 1,000 units from 2014 to 19. And then in 19, my business partner, my best bud from college, that ran the back office. So if you think about me, like I was able to like put the deal together, structure the whole thing, manage it. I needed someone that was very detailed, very analytical, running the back office. So taxes, insurance, all the bank documentation that banks need, insurance, all those things, right? And so he did that, and so 2019, he comes to me and he's like, "Look, I just want to go play golf." He started with zero, and and we had an epic run. He made a lot of money, and he was like, "I don't need to work anymore." So when that happened, I was at a crossroads. I was like, "What am I going to do? Right? What am I going to do? I understand this one thing. I need a partner. So then what ended up happening was I could either bring on another partner, which I had done previously, or I could go hire people and then start to raise capital and build a team. And so because of what happened with my partner, I was a little bit like jaded, from just bringing on one person and giving them a lot of skin in the game, because I just saw that, right? I just saw over 5 years that someone became incredibly wealthy and then didn't want to work anymore, basically. So I like by the results, he had basically said, "I don't want to work this hard. I want to go play golf." So I started raising capital in 2020. I did my first syndication. And so VareCo was really formed in 2020, right? Now I started buying real estate much earlier, but VareCo, as we know it today, was formed in 2020. And we did 7 syndications that year. 2021, we raised our first fund. It was roughly 29 million. 2022, we did another 7 syndications. In 23, we raised our second fund, which ended up being just over 25. This last year, we raised, I think, over 28 million. So, between the fund and out of the fund. But, so that's kind of the trajectory. We had at one point 70 employees. We're trimming the fat right now. But we do vertically integrated platform, multifamily, value add. And we buy Denver, Des Moines. We're also doing some stuff in the Midwest. But in terms of we underwrite the deal, we raise the equity, do the debt, do the construction, the property management, asset management, do the reporting, the whole thing. So built a team of really talented people that I really care a lot about, and I'm super thankful. I feel like we've got a team of people that really care and that understand the space and really heavily focused on that. So
yes.
Oh, somebody needs to mute themselves. Caleb, can you help out with that? Terrence, thank you, man. First of all, guys, open up your chat, and I want to point out something that is very obvious with Terrence. There is a fire in his voice. There's a fire in his voice when he talks about what he's doing, and you can just the passion is tangible. Like it's coming through my screen. It's coming through all our screens. So to show Terrence some love, since we're about through the halfway point here, let's drop some fires in the chat for Mr. Terrance Doyle. Come on, guys. Let's get some fires in the chat. Brother, that's we have to, dude, we got to just shower you with some love, bro. And I wanted to ask this too, because I'm tying this together. There's fire in the chat. There's fire coming out of your voice. Bro, what gets you up every day fired up to do what you do?
gets me up every day. I've got a responsibility. I mean, a couple things, right? I mean, the number one thing is that, I'm still young. I just turned 40 and, I've got a lot of dreams. I think that the number one thing that I think about is, what's the, what's the life that I want to live, and like of meaning, and what does that look like for my children, right? And so, for me, one of the things that drives me is just being able to provide for my kids the ability to have amazing experiences, right? Not from a textbook, but from actually like going and visiting and seeing the world, seeing real poverty, seeing things that you read in textbooks, but they can go like experience it, right? In Europe, wherever it is. I just got back from Africa, right? I saw this place called Slave Island, which is insane, right? Like where slaves went on the West Coast from Africa when they're going to the Americas, right? And they have this entire museum and all this stuff, right? And I was thinking to myself, and I took a video, it's like, I could read about this, but coming and touching it, feeling it, seeing it, smelling it, seeing everything, right? It's life changing, right? And so I think it's the same thing for my kids, right? I got a chance to grow up in a third world country. It changed my life, right? I was able to see a third world country with real poverty, no opportunity, come back to the United States and see unlimited opportunity. And I was like, oh, we have been dealt a winning hand. We need to take advantage of it. And so, those are the things that fire me up, right? Is how can I give my children like amazing experiences that will change their lives, right? How can they go and experience like the mission field and see people healed and see like real things that you read in the Bible, not just read the Bible and see a Western church, but go see people in villages that are totally fulfilled and have total joy, but have nothing, right? Nothing monetarily, right? And so, those are the things that fire me up. I think the other thing that fires me up is being able to like, use the resources and the talents and the experiences I've had to help influence people, motivate people, inspire people. That fires me up. I think that that's part of like our calling as people that follow Jesus to like, share, right? Is obey and share. It's not just to like, consume for myself, but like to, obey what he says and then to go share it. So those are the things that fire me up. That's why I get out of bed is I think that, I've been, I'm on mission. I'm on a mission. It's like a Navy SEAL. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm on mission. So that's what gets me out of bed.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's a lesson that we can all learn is that, to be successful really in this space, it's to have the fuel from a why that's greater than yourself. I don't want to say it's an absolute necessity because I'm sure there's some very self-centered, self-absorbed people out there that have been very successful in multifamily real estate. But that's for sure, that's not in alignment with the MFC community. That's not in alignment with you. So I would encourage everybody to go through the exercise of what your why is and make that why bigger than yourself. Make it bigger than, some dollar signs in the bank account. And you could see the passion coming through Terrence, and no doubt about it. It's these things that really he treasures in his heart and his big why. And I would encourage everybody to go through that exercise so you can be fueled every single day on your freedom chasing journey. Terrence, 2023, bro, moving into 2024, you guys killed it. You guys killed it, man. When a lot of people struggled, I know that we struggled. A lot of people were on the sidelines. A lot of people had deals go bad. What was you guys' recipe for success for doing what y'all did in 2023 and then moving into 2024?
Yeah, I just want to say that, we struggled as well, right? I mean, property management's super hard. Maintenance is hard. Accounting is hard. I mean, hiring in today's environment is hard. I would say like, we had all fixed rate debt. We didn't lose deals. We don't have any deals like with banks or, in foreclosure or anything like that. So from that standpoint, we didn't struggle. But in terms of just like growing pains, we struggle every day, right? So, but I viewed, you have to understand, like I started in 2008 when the world was saying don't buy real estate and everyone was getting crushed. And that was the best bet, one of the best bets we ever made. And then the same thing going to Des Moines, right? People were like, why would you buy Des Moines? No one understood it. I mean, we were buying Des Moines when you could buy apartment buildings for 10 to 15, 20,000 a door and the rents were 500. You're buying 10 caps on the market. Why wasn't the whole world flooding? I mean, it was just lack of understanding, right? So you have to understand, I've always bought when people were either on the sideline, afraid, and the entire world was saying, don't buy, don't do this or that. Like the talking heads, institutions, people were like on the sideline. So that's just been that's all I've ever known, right? And so when 23 happened and I saw, the rhetoric kind of returning to that for the first time in a long time. You have to understand, since 2017, we've just been on this like upward incline, steep incline where everyone was making money. I mean, anyone that bought a deal made money. You didn't have to have a business plan, you didn't have the experience, you could just buy and sell and you made money. So we're entering this season where for the first time you have to have, real experience, and you have to have, you have to know what you're doing and, have a real business plan that you can execute. You have to have the ability to execute amidst these headwinds, right? And so to me, that's the time to be active and buying and intentional, right? Is when everyone else is on the sideline, when everyone else is, when you're being a contrarian, right? It's going against the herd, right? When the herd is saying, sitting on the sideline, being active, being excited about being in the game and looking for opportunities that other people are, saying aren't there. I think we were talking about this book, $100 million Offers, Alex Hormozi. It's like, you've got to be able to go against the grain to get outsized returns. If you always go with the herd, you're just going to get normal returns. If you want to make 100 to 1, 20 to 1, 30 to 1 on your money and make money that you can really have freedom, you have to be willing to take risk adjusted bets and go against the grain. And so that's been my thesis since day one. And that's kind of the way I've always conducted business. So.
Okay. Is that a mindset that you've had for a long time, Terrence, kind of like going against the grain, or is that something that you had to cultivate?
It definitely wasn't like intentional. I just think that's what came natural to me. I just think that's what's come natural. I think, when you grow up in a third world country and you have immigrant parents and, you don't really come from anything, I just think you naturally have this chip on your shoulder where you're proving people wrong and you kind of have a different perspective on life. And I think I was just born with that. It wasn't something I intentionally tried to develop internally. I think there's certain people that are just really, really risk adverse, and that's fine. And there's other people that just see the world differently, and that's kind of the bucket I'm in. It was nothing that I chose or that I've tried to develop. Now, over time, I've tried to be more thoughtful about risk and data and making data-driven bets, right? I want to make bets that are contrarian, but I need data to back it up. I can't just go against the grain, just willy-nilly. I have to still have some data to back it up. So I would say that those are things that I'm trying to continue to refine and improve on. But at my core, I just kind of like betting against the masses and trying to find segments of the market that are underpriced, right? And that are misunderstood.
I like that you brought that up about, still having hard data that you need to go and support your going against the grain mentality and direction. Because, there's a massive data out there that's telling you to go one way, right? But there's some streams of data out there that'll say, hey, actually, for you to maximize this opportunity, you need to go this direction. Is there some resources that you can share with the folks on the call tonight where they can tap into some of these streams or streams of information that will help just propel them and give them confidence in going against the grain?
I think the best book out there for entrepreneurs is $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. That's the book everyone should go read. You should get the audio book. You should read it every week, listen to the podcast and listen to his audiobook. I think that will, he said that much more eloquent than me. He's a much better speaker. He's, much wealthier than I am. He's much more successful in every, in a lot of those ways. So I would go listen to him. He's going to say it much better than I am. And, but I would be reading that. And then, tactically, as it comes to real estate, you need to know your market, right? So I would be studying data from the market. We went over it today on a call that we were on. Like, I just, I want to consume as much data as I can about the markets I'm in. I want to understand, what's going on, what's trading, what's going on with lending, what's going on with equity, what's going on. I just want to understand as much as possible and just consume it all. So I would think that, high level entrepreneurship, I would read books, from other entrepreneurs that are successful. And then, as you get more into the weeds, I would start to really dive into your market, right? So if you want to be in wholesale, I just, whatever, like vein of multifamily you want to go down, like just go drill down and just go get as much data and consume as much data as you can on that subject matter. That's it. I just read, I'm just consuming data all the time on the things that I'm in. So.
Okay. I love that, brother. I love that. What with VareCo moving into 2024 here, what's on the horizon for you guys? Any new strategies or resources you guys are looking to implement and employ? What's it looking like for y'all over there?
Yeah, this will be the first time, in the last 3 years, we've only raised money from institutions, family office, high net worth individuals. we are going to be, we are working with probably 20 to 30 different fund of funds out there, and for those of you that are interested, Trevor can give you more information on that. But, there's this whole new wave of capital from retail investors, right, that want access to private investments like real estate. And they're all coming together and they're pooling their capital and then writing one check into deals that we're doing. And so we think that that's going to be a pretty big movement in 24, right? We're making a pretty big push on that. We're trying to set up resources and education and, trying to really, grow that side of the business. We think that there's a lot of power in retail investors right now that want to, get freedom. They want access to some of these deals, but they may not have enough money to write one check into a deal directly, but they can pool their capital, into another fund that together, writes a 7-figure check into one of our deals. And so I think that that's a big wave. I think that generally speaking, like buying multifamily real estate in the right markets with the right operator is going to end up being a great bet. If you're with the right person in the right markets, I think it's going to be really, really, it's a great time to buy. It's a buyer's market. There's a lot of people on the sidelines. There's very few qualified buyers. And it's for the first time sellers are willing to take less money for certainty of close, right? And so that's the kind of market that I think is really, really attractive and exciting.
Outstanding. Van, I see your hand up. We'll open it up for Q&A here just in a few minutes. Appreciate that. Terrence, what would be your advice for multifamily investors out there that haven't done their first deal? They want to be active. What would you say is like a good solid step that they can take in light of what 2024 holds in all positive respects?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to get involved. There's one school of thought that's like, whatever your skill set is, find someone that's doing it and offer to do it for free just to get mentorship, right, or coaching or access to a side a front row seat to people doing deals, right? That's one way. Like that wouldn't work with like for someone like myself, just because we have a team of people and actually bringing someone on that works for free is actually more work to implement them. But there's people out there you could go do that, right? You could say, hey, look, I'm great at this. I have this skill set. I think, like a gentleman on here has access to deals, right? That's a great way. If someone has access to deals and someone else has the capital, that's a great way to get into it. I think everyone has a network. Right. And I think that, for most of you out there, and this may not be a popular thought, but for most of you out there, the way to get into a deal and to learn is to raise capital. Right. That's just it, because anyone can go and talk to their friends and family. Anyone can go and, try and share the word and spread the word and get momentum around someone else's deal. Right. It's much different me selling my own deal than having 20 or 30 or 40 people out there selling VareCo, right? It's much different, right? And so anyone can go out there and do that. And I think that that's a great way to, on a firsthand way, learn how they underwrite. Because when you bring someone money, they're going to tell you everything about their deal. They're going to show you their pipeline. They're going to show you their underwriting. I mean, the world changes when you show up with a check. The world changes. The doors open, and all of a sudden people are willing to share anything. And unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. And so you can either hate it or you can, embrace it and say, I'm going to lean into that. And that's my ticket in. So, some of you may have access to deals and that'll be your way in. Other you may be great at other aspects of a deal. That may be your way in. But most of you, the best chance you have of getting into a deal and learning is by raising capital.
That's right. That's right. I agree with that statement, Terrence, 100%. And that's why I think it's important that a valuable skill set that, newer investors need to learn is how can I connect with high-level sophisticated sponsor operators and be able to communicate my value and build a relationship where that opportunity, that door opens for somebody to get their foot in the door. Couldn't agree more. Okay, y'all, I would say this. We're going to transition to Q&A here in like 2 minutes. So if you want to start raising your hand, we'll get you lined up to speak directly to Terrence. You can fire away your question. I got a couple I want to throw your way here really quickly, Terrence, before we open it up to everybody. I want to ask about your Grant Cardone interview. And I want to ask, from the standpoint of, first of all, number one, how you landed that thing, because not everybody gets a chance to interview Grant Cardone. And then how has any kind of communication, or what has been the communication like with him, if any, after that interview has happened? And then a third question on top of that is talk about what it means and how valuable it is, or maybe not valuable it is, to just have exposure in the real estate world through all the different social media channels and events and things like that.
Yeah.
Did you catch all that,
So
bro?
in a former life, I ran this podcast called Multifamily Mentors for Bigger Pockets. So it was the Bigger Pockets Multifamily Show, and it was on their YouTube channel. And if you just go Google Multifamily Mentors on YouTube, you'll see it. I think we did 50 or 60 episodes. And so for a couple years, someone on his team reached out to us in 21, and he wanted to be on the show. He wanted to talk about multifamily, and not for any other reason than it was bigger pockets, and he wanted a larger platform, specifically focused on multifamily, because he had been on the other show, and I guess it, I don't, for whatever reason, at that time, they weren't really nuanced in multifamily. Brandon Turner is now, but at the time they weren't. So he wanted to talk specifically about multifamily. So we had been going back and forth on email for a couple of years. Him and Diana, who you've met, she runs all of our marketing. And then we just decided on a date in December, and we flew down. It was the only time that we flew down. Most people flew into Denver. We flew down to Miami. He was doing a conference. He invited my brother and I to his conference, and then we got a chance to interview him. And it was supposed to go for 15 minutes. I think we went for like 50 or 40. We went for a lot longer, and it was great. I mean, we were just playing pitch and catch, talking about, he comes from Lake Charles, Louisiana, similar upbringing. He had some different challenges than I've had. But man, the guy's an incredible salesman, incredible visionary, unbelievable drive and focus, and really, really, really understands real estate, like just a God-given ability to understand real estate. Like, take the Instagram aside and everything you see with the jets and the cars and the watches. I mean, the guy understands real estate. He really, really does. He understands people, he understands communication, and he understands real estate. And, he's leveraged that to the hill. I mean, he's done an incredible job. And I really enjoyed meeting him. I enjoyed talking to him. We got a chance to go to the conference. After the conference, he invited us to be in his real estate club. And so my brother and I joined that. And I mean, I've had multiple conversations and phone calls with him and Ryan and another guy on their team. And, we were at a conference like a month later, and, he came up and, shook my hand and, asked me how I was doing. So, I mean, it was good. I mean, I think he does respect that we're doing it our own way. I mean, we do some of the same deals he did probably 10 years ago or something like that, like how we got started. Obviously, we're not buying Class A institutional deals on the water in Naples, but I mean, I have great respect for what he's done, what he's built, his understanding of real estate. So yeah, I don't know if I answered all your questions, but yeah, it was a phenomenal experience. I learned a ton, and I've had a chance to stay in touch with him since then. So
Yeah. And just one other question that I had embedded in all that was also just the importance, or maybe not so much of an importance, of just getting exposure in some way, shape, or form in the multifamily space. Obviously, podcast is one way to do it, but could you just speak to that point really quick?
yeah, I've never paid for a mentor, but obviously we paid to go down there. We paid to be in the club with him. So I've never paid, but like, it was super valuable, right? I mean, I do think that there is something to be said for, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, so I've learned the hard way, right? So that was kind of my education. But if you want to expedite the journey, right, to getting with the right partner, to getting in the right deals, to underwriting, to raising capital, I mean, getting in the right group is the right way. I tend to enjoy education more, and I want to be around people that just want to learn and grow. And I haven't really wanted to, we did an investment group a while back, and I think we charged like $250. Like, I want to be able to give people something that's worth millions of dollars for free, right? That's just what I want. But I want to be around people that really want it and are motivated and are really driven. So, but yes, I mean, I think to answer your question, like, you have to be around. Like I said, it's highly nuanced, right? What does nuance mean? There's all these like little things. You're an engineer, right? So it's like, it's not linear, right? Real estate's not linear. You have to know when to turn left, when to turn right. Sometimes you have to turn left and right at the same time. Sometimes you have to like slow down and then speed up. Like, it's highly nuanced. There's all these like details around what to do and how to execute a business plan. It's not just like, go put lipstick on a pig and go buy a deal and paint it. I mean, there's so many little details that you can't really pick up in a book. The same metaphor that I use for going to Africa and going to this really great place of interest called, Slave Island, right? You can read a book, but it's not going to do the same thing as going and touching and seeing the walls, seeing where people were, seeing where the water came up, seeing the rooms that they put the children in, seeing the places that it's not going to do it justice. It's the same way. You can go read a book about multifamily, but the nuances come from actually doing it, right? From knowing the levers to pull, when to pull them, how hard to pull them. And you're only going to get those nuances, right? If you're with someone like myself, like Grant Cardone, you know, that has done it time and time again for multiple years, right? You know, I've been, you know, long time. And so that's, you know, that's the reason for mentorship, and that's the value of it.
Outstanding, brother. Outstanding. I say, let's go to Q&A. Let's open up to the audience. Raise your hand if you have a question for Terrence. We'll get you lined up, and then we'll get you unmuted. All right, Van. Yes. We'll get you unmuted here.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to share this. It's very inspiring, and I feel that when you give, you get it back 10 times more. Like immigrant thing, it totally get with me. I came here by myself, completely broke, sit on the floor. I have 5 outfits in a week, and weekend whatever I said prop up. And came by myself, so everything fall on me to feel supply my family back at home. So for longest time that all I know is to work. That's all I knew. I didn't know English. I didn't know anything about anything. Somehow I got into businesses. People hand to me and I just go with it and run with it, have a business, and then have money, invest into Florida at that point. And I go up very high, and overnight I crash very low. I have no idea how to understand market, how to leverage, how to learn, have mentor. Fast forward back to school to become a pharmacist. And then it couldn't really make me happy because I help people one thing, but I still love the connections, relationship, help people different things. So last year I left the whole healthcare, came out and invest into this. I do small things like learn through people. And along the way, you find out people meant to do too, but they did not do well on the underwrite or understand the market. And I go different mentorship. Believe me, I go 3, 4, 5 different mentorship and not great either. So from you to say, you learn all the hard way, and you say yes, get connected to people who really inspired and did well already, have the tracking already. I follow Grant Cardone too, yes. Do you think that raising capital internal, have your own in-house to hire consultant come in and do that, or to hire them to do that part for your beginning when you build out that part of financial side of you?
Oh, sorry. I love your story. I love everything you just said. I missed the last 2 sentences. What was the question?
The question is, do you think that if you do all over again, we suggest to really hire a company consultant to raise capital, or to build in-house a team to raise capital?
A team to raise capital? Would I build a team to raise capital or hire a consultant? So I don't know, you know, all I've ever done. So the short answer is I don't know. I can just tell you what I did, right? I don't know what, you know, I can't really give advice on something that I only did it. The only thing I know, is your name Van? Van? The only thing I know, Van, is what I did, right? And what I did was I started out with my own capital. I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot about property management, construction, the whole thing. I got to know the markets with my own money. I mean, you have to understand, I was buying single family homes in 2008, then multifamily in 2014 for 5 years. So basically for 12 years, I was just using basically my own capital. We were partners. We didn't raise LPs. And then in 2019, you know, when my business partner came to me, I had a lot of people that were already coming to me because they had seen what I had done, wanting to give me money. So I never really had to like go raise money. I mean, people were coming to me saying, we want to invest. And these were like, and then their friends were coming to me. So it was like very much like a country club. It was like, I was only raising from a small group of people. Even to this day, I think we only have like 70 investors. So it's a small group of people. It's not a lot. So we just now, after 4 years, just raised our first employee that's going to help me on the business development side, right? Because most people want to talk to me, they want to hear my story, you know. So would I hire a consultant? I don't know how a consultant's going to help you, because at the end of the day, man, they're going to want to talk to you, and they're going to want to say, tell me your background, tell me the thesis, tell me why I should invest in you, tell me what the business plan is, tell me what's your advantage, right? And so you can have the best consultant in the world. You could have Grant Cardone, your consultant, right? He'll take your money, but like, he's not going to be able to raise money for you unless you can check those boxes and explain to someone why they should invest, what your track record is, what's your advantage, you know what I mean? Your knowledge of the market, your experience in the market, which is why I think the best way to learn is for you personally to go help raise capital. Like, you could go raise capital from the people that you know in your network, from pharmacy, from, you know, other countries, like immigrants, right? I mean, there's a bunch of immigrants that want to understand multifamily. You could probably be their guide, but I think that that's going to be a better path and a straighter path in terms of like connecting the dots to where you want to go. Because if you do that, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot to where you could, in a couple of years, go do your own deal. And then you could say, hey, I just learned from XYZ's deal. I helped raise money for the last 5 deals. I saw how they did everything, and now I'm doing my own way. And then you could raise money on that. But you have to have something, some kind of story that people are going to buy into.
Yep.
And so you can hire a consultant or you can hire employees, but either way, they're going to want to hear your story. We need to understand what your advantage is, right? Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing is, I know you learn a lot of different skill sets to go to have business, right? Fundraising, understand the deal, and it means everything into that package there. How do you delegate that work? You can focus on every single skill set and perfect at that, right? How do you know and get the people to really work with you? Partnership, I feel like it's hard to get someone to work with you, understand your vision and your work ethic, and go along with, align that the same thing. For me, that's a challenge right there. So you find that, any advice on that?
Yeah, finding partners is really hard. It's like a marriage. Are you married? You're not married? Yeah, it's hard. I mean, finding someone to marry in this world is hard. Finding a business partner is hard. I mean, finding people you can trust is extremely, extremely hard. It takes a long time to get comfortable with someone. You know, this goes back to, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like going and finding a business partner is really hard unless it's natural, right? You met them in this kind of community. They live in your area. You guys are complementary. You spend a lot of time together. You get to know them. You know, unfortunately, you don't really get to know somebody until things go bad. And then it's too late. So how do you like learn what someone's like so you know how they're going to handle when you guys have challenges, right? It's really hard. This is why I think that you can go do it on your own, but you just need to learn from someone. The best way to learn from someone is to bring capital. Because let's say that look, if you told Grant Cardone that you had $1 million that you were going to invest in his deal, what do you think he would do? He would give you time, wouldn't he? If you told someone on his team, like if you called his main guy, Andres, right now, and said, hey, Andres, I have $1 million to put in your next deal. You know what you're going to get? You're going to get a phone call with anyone you want in Cardone. They're going to answer your questions about the deal. They're going to say, come down here. We'll show you our underwriting, blah, blah, blah. So it just, money talks. So if you have money, it's going to give you what you want, which is learning. You're going to be able to learn the underwriting, how they look at the market, how they do the management, all along the way. So I don't know. I mean, I like that path better than trying to find a partner, right? That you may or may not know how they're going to, it's an unknown quantity, right? You know that Grant Cardone is going to produce, right? And most people look at our tracker, like we know what we're going to get with VareCo. There's other people out there, you know what you're going to get, right? So to me, that makes more sense to me than trying to go find a business partner and hire a consultant and go and try and like put it together, because it's kind of forced and you don't really know what you're getting from this business partner. Most people over time deliver less and less and less. Most people. It's very rare that over time people start to over deliver. It's very rare, like 1 out of 1,000. Most people deliver less and less the longer you know them. So you have to know them for a long time before you know whether you want to partner. Most people meet someone, they have a great coffee, they're really motivated, and they just like, oh, I like this person, and we had a great meeting, and I feel good, and they go partner. And then it does, and then it blows up. Same thing with marriage, right? So it takes a long time to get to know somebody. And for that reason, I would probably think that you're going to be better off and you're going to learn more with less risk personally by figuring out a way to raise capital for somebody that you trust and you want to work with, whoever it is in whatever market you like. I don't know where, you're in Houston, like there's a bunch of really good operators in Houston. I can introduce you to one of the best ones, right? His name is Robert Beardsley, right? If you wanted to raise money for Robert Beardsley, he would show you his playbook. And you could raise as little as like, you could raise not very much money and he would, does that make sense? Yep. Versus you could never go find someone even a fraction as good as Robert Beardsley and partner with them in Houston. You would never do it. Robert Beardsley, the guys like Robert, they would never partner with you. But if you raised money for Robert, he would take your phone call and answer any question you wanted. And his team is phenomenal. You know what I mean? So does that tell you, I mean, I hope that that metaphor right there, like, should be it. It's like, you could never go partner with Robert Beardsley, but you could raise money for him and then he will tell you every single thing and you will be like a pseudo partner.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Van, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Great questions. All right, let's go to Marcus. Marcus, let's get you unmuted and fire away, bro.
Good evening, guys. How you doing?
What's up, bro? Well. How are you?
Good evening to you.
I'm blessed.
Great
I'm blessed.
Suit
Sorry,
you
I'm not.
You look super fresh.
Man, thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm not on camera. I'm actually driving, but I definitely wanted to get on here. Now, let me ask you this question, because I'm 8 years into real estate investment, and I just got into to commercial. Got my first deal. Now, being that I'm brand new, what is the quickest way I can find somebody to, I guess, invest in my deal, or to partner on my deal when you just jumped in head first?
Okay, so you have your first deal. Okay, what's your background?
My background is real estate investment, flipping houses.
Flipping houses, and now you have your first multifamily deal under contract?
It's a mixed-use commercial deal,
okay.
Housing for the state of Texas.
Dude, so the question is, how do you get people to invest in your first deal?
Correct.
Yeah, and you've made money flipping houses?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're like, if you buy 100 houses, you're making money on 95 of them?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You've got a construction crew. You've got the whole thing?
Yeah, I got everything I need.
Okay, cool. So here's what you do. Here's what I did. You got to tell that story, and you got to tell it to like 1,000 people, right? I mean, there's this saying that like you can get anything you want in life as long as you're willing to ask 1,000 people. With your background and your experience, it sounds like you understand deals, you understand construction, you understand how to make money, you understand how to like navigate that whole thing. Now you just need to take the next step. It's just, you just need to get meetings and tell as many people about it, and I would end it with this. This helped me a lot. It'd be like, just give me an opportunity to prove to you that I'm, that I can get it done. That's it. Most people want to help people, if it's like, just give me a shot. Give me a shot. Right? I was a sports agent back in the day. Just give me a shot. Just give me a shot. So I would say that, but you're gonna have to hustle and just get in front of as many people as possible and try and show them that you were successful flipping and show them why that's going to relate to your mixed use deal, right? All the things that are similar. And then at the end of the day, you just got to be like, just give me a shot.
Sounds like a winner. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I mean, you may have to like tweak the terms, right? You may have to make the terms very, very, very favorable. Like give them a deal. Alex Hormozy, make someone an offer so good that they feel stupid saying no. You may have to make the terms really, really in their favor. Like you have to figure out what that is. I don't know the deal. I don't know but like make it really, really almost like, for instance, if I was one of the people you called, right? And let's say I knew you and I trusted you, I would want to hear something like, I'm going to double your money before I take $1. Something like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to double your money before I take $1 of profit. Something like that to me would be, wow, this guy's serious and I know him and I trust him. So you need to make someone a really, really compelling offer, and you need to show them how your track record relates with and is going to give you the ability to succeed at this new business plan. If you do those things, you'll get it done. But you got to ask hundreds and hundreds of people.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Well, I'm going to say this to you. Give me an opportunity to prove you wrong, that this is not the best deal in Houston right now.
Well, you can send it to me. I'll be really honest with you. I buy real estate for a living, so it's really hard for me to invest in someone else's deal because I feel like I have a pretty unfair advantage. Now, if you were in tech or if you were in private equity or if you had something else outside of real estate, you have to understand, I need diversification. I don't need more real estate. So even if you doubled my money or tripled my money, it doesn't do anything for me, unfortunately. I can do that myself in real estate. So I'm more than happy to take a look at it and I'll give you some feedback, but I'm the wrong person because I've built my own wealth from real estate. So I don't need more real estate. So that's why for me, I don't really invest in anyone else's real estate.
That absolutely makes sense. But I would say this, if you look at it and it's a good deal and it checks all the boxes, could you refer me to somebody that's going to make a move that got the capability?
I could introduce you to some people in Houston. Send it to me and I'll look at it. I'm traveling this week, so it's not going to be like soon. But if you send it to Trevor and Trevor sends it to me, I'll look at it and I'll give you some feedback.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah,
nice talking.
Thanks, Marcus.
Likewise.
Thanks, Mark. Guys, we're coming up on the end of our Zoom here. Jency, I see you. Daniel, I see you. Before we do that, here's what we got to do, guys. Here's what we got to do. We got to show some love again to Terrence for joining us tonight. I want y'all to take out y'all's phones. Take out y'all's phones. Throw the camera on. Let's get a camera. Let's get a picture with Mr. Terrance Doyle here, and we got to throw it up on social. Y'all know how we got to do it and show our brother some love. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Y'all make sure y'all tag Terrence. Terrence, what's your handle again on IG?
Just at Terrance Doyle.
At Terrance Doyle. There we go. Okay, fantastic. Jency, let's get you unmuted. And let's keep things tight here, guys, so we can honor everybody's time. We got literally 4 minutes. So let's keep it tight, and then we'll wrap up here shortly.
Awesome. Could you guys hear me all right?
Yeah. Yes, loud and clear.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Trevor. Thank you very much, Terrence, for your time. And just this opportunity to be able to speak to you guys. My name is Jency Saldana. I'm here from Washington State. And Terrence, as you were speaking, your words really resonated with me because I do kind of have that similar background as a believer, right? And also with immigrant parents as well. And just truly a hustler, just trying to make it to what God has planned for us, your life, right? So I just turned 24 years old, super young, and I just want to be able to be who God wants me to be, right? And I just wanted to ask you, now that you have overcame and gotten this wealth, right, and know who your identity is, looking back on who you were before, right, what was God trying to teach you in that process? What was one of the main things?
Man, what a question. Amazing question. You look really sharp. I like how presentable you are, and a really great question and very thoughtful. The process, here's the hard part as a believer, is a lot of believers grow up thinking that, God wants you to be successful, right? And unfortunately that, and this is really hard to say, right? And the thing is, like, I've lost a lot of money. Right? I've failed at a bunch of things. And when I went through that, I was like, man, how am I feeling? I love God. Why am I losing money? And I went to a place where, and you look at the Bible, you look at Job, you look at Joseph, right? And you look at the disciples in the New Testament, right? I think all of them were murdered, right? And so unfortunately, we live in a world in the United States where most people think that, if I'm a Christian, life's going to be easy. I'm going to make money. I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to be happy. And actually it's the opposite, right? It's most likely going to be harder. It's going to be more painful, right? Because living a life where you're putting others first and you're being gracious and generous and you're serving and you're humble, is a life that other people, take advantage. It's not it doesn't most of the time lead to that. And so you have to be able to separate, like, I am going to obey scripture regardless of the financial outcome, right? Because I know that, because I believe that what the Bible says is true, that I'm going to live a life that's fulfilled, that's joyful, and that despite my economic circumstances, I am going to, be fulfilled, right? And I'm going to be content, right? Paul says, I learned that, he had money, or he had zero, he was in jail, or he was like in this amazing Greek island. Either way, he was content, right? And I think that's the journey, honestly. Right. At 24, man, I had all the ambition, all the fire in the world, but that doesn't mean, and I love Jesus sincerely, and I love him. I've always, I feel like I grew up in a home where, scripture, we were memorizing scripture. And I mean, it's just like been part of our life. So I would just encourage you that, my life is incredibly challenging, right? The pain that I go through, I mean, we have 5 lawsuits right now, 5. And I'm someone that I'm like, why are people suing me? I'm out here trying to like share the gospel with people. I'm out here trying to share I have employees that are suing me. Employees. You'd listen to me talking, you'd be like, how is someone suing this guy? You know what I mean? And so I would just say that like, it's incredibly challenging. It's incredibly painful. I mean, I actually think that you experience God more in suffering, right? And that's been my life, right? Is I experience God in his presence more when I'm suffering and going through really, really hard times than when I'm, making all kinds of money and business is going well and everything that I'm doing is working out. It's like, you don't learn, right? And you're not actually closer to God in those times. You're close to God in the times where it's, where you feel lost and you feel like you're broken and all those things. So I just think that I don't know if that's definitely not, what, most people want to hear, but, being where you're at 24 and being super motivated and hungry and loving Jesus, I went from up here, down here, and I've done it so many times, right? In the rest of my life, I mean, I could lose, here's the thing. I could lose everything tomorrow. I could have fire, blah, 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 and it's gone, right? And does that mean that God doesn't love me? Does it mean that his word isn't true? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that I'm going to learn a lot. You know what I mean? It means that I'm going to learn quite a bit about humility and a bunch of other things. So that's my view of money as it relates to faith and any amount of success as it relates to faith.
For sure, man. Thank you very much.
Jency, thank you, man. Appreciate you being here tonight and asking your questions. All right, last one. Daniel, fire away, bro.
Hey, how are you, man? I probably have my full name is Daniel Mongomery. Probably got like 1,000,001 questions for you, but I try to make it simple, quick and short.
Yep. Let's keep it tight, bro. Let's keep it tight.
I got you. So I have a business partner and as well owner that I'm working with that wants to sell like over 400 units in total. He's also a direct buyer. He doesn't do any of the raising funds. He actually has the capital to buy on spot as long as the numbers work. Now you own over about 1,400 units. He owns about 2,000 units. He calls these 2,000 units the untouchable. So if you're ever interested in doing a 1031 exchange, let me know, please. I can leave my email and my phone number in the chat one more time. He buys on the spot. I mean, he could buy all the way up to like $30 million. If you're ever interested in selling any of your properties that has some equity, at least like 60% equity, where you can come in, raise the rents, do some value adds, please let me know. It's him and his partner, and they own 2,000 units together. He doesn't do any syndication. He can buy it on the spot. So definitely, if I could just leave my number, I'll be able to talk to you, connect with you a little bit more. I think we can make some stuff happen.
Yeah, great. I'm super interested. I'd be more interested in like buying a deal than selling, just to be really honest with you. But Trevor has my info. Feel free to reach out. You can shoot me an email, and I'm happy to look at whatever you have. I think we're more buyers than sellers, but I love your story. I love your hustle, and man, you just got to keep doubling down. You're on the right path.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Very good. Awesome. Well, let's get some fires in the chat for Terrence. Last round of fires, man. Our brother just came on and just spitting fires and dropping gold nuggets. Let's show him some love. Make sure you show him love too on the IG at Terrance Doyle. There we go. We got the fires in the chat. I'll share my screen here, and we will finish with some announcements. But
so one last thing. So I'm actually, because of the legal stuff, I'm actually off IG. I mean, I still have a page, but I don't post or anything. But I am active because it's more educational. I am more on LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to interact or do anything, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on there every day. But I actually deleted Instagram from my phone. So I'm not even on Instagram. I mean, Diana still runs it, but I'm not on there at all. So if you want to actually talk to me, you got to go on LinkedIn.
Okay. I mean, should we follow VareCo or connect with you? What do you recommend, Terrence?
On LinkedIn?
Yeah, on LinkedIn.
I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Just not IG.
Okay. Connect with you personally on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll be on LinkedIn. And you can follow VareCo too.
And follow VareCo. Okay.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Bro, it was a real pleasure having you again tonight, man.
Love you, bro. Good talking to you. See you guys.
Dude, enjoy the rest of your evening, man.
Later.
Safe travels home.
See ya.